All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Death by Tyranny podcast. Well, it didn't take too long, and actually, I have to say it came quicker than I thought it would. A couple days ago, I told you guys, if Joe Biden was allowed to get away with going against the Constitution, breaking the law, and taking a play out of Obama's handbook, he would continue to do that. And I said the next time probably would be something of significant value when it came to our freedoms. And I was correct. So, we already know how Joe Biden feels about private property. He thinks you have no right to private property. And if that means breaking the law to take that freedom away from you, he will do that. And I said, don't be surprised when he comes for the guns. And here we are, almost less than 48 hours later, he's coming for the guns. So, Joe Biden has met with 7 Attorney General of the United States to try to find loopholes in their state law to be able to sue gun manufacturers. Now, there is legislation that is a barrier to prevent people from suing gun manufacturers. However, and Democrats would like you to believe that you can't sue gun manufacturers, but that is incorrect. It has happened before, and you absolutely can sue gun manufacturers for something like a malfunction, and we've seen that a year or so ago when SIG was sued for drop test malfunctions, pretty much. People were having guns discharged after being dropped. I believe there was even some kind of a lawsuit with the United States military and Sig Sauer. I believe there might have been a settlement there or something. And then the families of the Nuketown shooting, they were allowed to sue Remington based on the belief that they were marketing to children. And so it was kind of a loophole to find some way to give the families of that mass shooting some financial revenge. I'm not sure what the thought was there, but unfortunately, that led to not very good precedent for gun manufacturers not being sued after that. So the Protection of Lawful Commerce Act, Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, there you go, is supposed to prohibit people from suing gun manufacturers. So Joe Biden meets with these 7 Attorney General this week, and they are from D.C., New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and California. No surprise there. These are largely some of the states with the most gun control there is. A lot of them have assault weapon bans, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. And so, in large part, these are the states that are going to have the cases where they really go out on a limb to attack gun manufacturers. And Joe Biden knows on a federal level that this is not going to fly. But if they can find enough case law in these anti-gun states, maybe they can find a loophole, and all their efforts combined can bring a case against multiple gun manufacturers. And this is kind of a trend that's happening this week, this month, whereas Mexico, as a country, is trying to sue American gun manufacturers for cartel crimes committed with those firearms. Now, that's a little bit different, obviously, because I'm assuming that the PLCAA doesn't stop Mexico from suing gun manufacturers, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But this is kind of a backdoor, if you will, guns confiscation, because you're really setting yourself up for failure as a country if you sue gun manufacturers out of existence, right? Because then there's no more new guns. So in theory, you got rid of all new gun owners. So you are taking away from their Second Amendment being able to become gun owners. And then what do you think will happen to all the illegal guns that are already in circulation? In large point with the cartel due to the ATF and the abomination of the Project Fast and the Furious, where they were selling guns to the cartels and then kind of lost track of everything going on there. How convenient. So you have the illegal guns that are already in criminals' hands. You have no new guns being made because all the gun manufacturers have gone out of business. So that only leaves the guns that are in law-abiding citizens' hands. What do you think is going to happen when the criminals need guns? Then, I mean, they're already, stealing and trying to find illegal ways to buy them, but that is going to shrink the honeypot, if you will. And so they will have to target law-abiding citizens for those guns to commit the crimes that they're going to commit. Crimes aren't going to stop. And I think that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that Democrats just don't understand how the human mind works. They think if we give all the poor, stupid, dumb people what they need to survive, then they won't commit crimes. There will be no evil because there will be no reason for evil to be done. And that's not how humanity works. Unfortunately, there are evil people. There are people who want to do evil things just to do it. And no amount of law will ever stop that. No amount of pandering will limit that. Now, you can make laws and enforce laws that will accelerate that. And that's what this would do. It would accelerate criminals being criminals to get guns to commit crimes. Now, I don't know why they haven't caught on to what a good way to go about clearing up some of this gun violence is. Because for the most part, gun violence happens where law-abiding citizens don't have access to firearms themselves. Gun-free zones, for example. And then in some of these larger Democrat-ran cities, California is a great example. They have some of the most strict gun laws on the books in the United States, and their gang violence is out of control. Chicago is another good one. How about this? Over the last 6 years, there's been like 1,000 shootings. I think almost 150 people dead in Chicago alone. And only out of those 1,000 shootings were 2 people convicted. Now, I got this information from Fox News, of course, so it could be slightly a little this way or that way. because they have their own narrative to push there. But they're not just rambling non-facts. Their attorney general, or they're not their attorney general, but their prosecutor, I believe in one county, I think it's Cook County, released something like, I think it was 2,500 cases or people. Oh shit, sorry guys. It was like 2,500 people from prison to the point where they are running out of ankle bracelets. So they have so many criminals out on the streets that they are running out of ankle bracelets, which seems crazy to me as it is. Some of these crimes even go out to murder. That means Chicago has murderers on their streets right now that have ankle bracelets on in a city that they can't control gun violence. Think about that for a second. Is the problem really gun manufacturers? Or is it a problem with our justice system? And I've said it before, we don't need to defund the police. We need to refabricate our judicial system to keep violent criminals in jail. And you have congressmen and women like Cori Bush from Missouri that come out and say, yes, I will spend $75,000 a year on personal security. I will spend $200,000 a year on personal security because my life is more important than the poor, stupid people. Because the message I am trying to push is defund the police. And defunding the police needs to happen. So, in a whole, you have Democrats that want to sue gun manufacturers out of existence. So you have no new guns to purchase legally to practice your Second Amendment. You have Democrats still pushing this defund the police narrative that we have already seen fail miserably this year in Democrat cities throughout the United States. On top of, you have Democrat congressmen and women arguing that they should have no limit to taxpayer money to provide personal security. So where does that leave the law-abiding, normal citizen? Well, it doesn't leave us in a good spot. Especially now that we know we have a president that will break the law himself to take away our freedoms. We have to keep a closer eye on these politicians and what they're going to do, because we're running out of taxpayer dollars. Police are becoming harder and harder to come by because they don't want to do the job anymore, because they are not respected, they are not protected, and they are not funded. For the most part, Democratic ran states are putting more gun control to make it harder and harder for a law-abiding citizen, an American, to protect their own life and the lives of their family. And there's just not a whole lot left we can do. Well, my advice to you would be, buy a firearm. Buy a firearm. Educate yourself on firearm safety. Train with these firearms to be proficient. And some of the use cases you may need to use it. Because there might come a day where you can no longer do so. Where you can't just go to a gun store and buy a firearm. Because just like police, if you make it harder for these gun manufacturers to manufacture guns and make a profit, they're going to stop. They're going to go out of business. Police cadets are going to stop showing up to be trained. And we're going to be left with no police, no guns to go buy, and defenseless. And in America that we know, the politicians will have their security guards. And at that point, who is to stop them from taking everything? Now, we know in most cases in history, and I've said it multiple times before, as soon as you get that registry, you will have a gun confiscation. It may take 10 years, it may take 2, but it will come. And it has always come. And I don't even think the most educated Democrat can argue against that fact. Well, California just passed a law that will make the law-abiding citizens of California pay a gun insurance, gun violence tax. Of course, police officers and military are excluded from this law, which only leaves just the normal civilian that obeys the law. How will they know how much of this tax, or if they should tax you? Well, they would have to know how many guns, or if you even own guns to begin with. And in their own words, they say a registry is required to do so. The only problem is they can't figure out how to legally do it. But trust and believe they are working on this. And with Joe Biden's help and constantly looking for loopholes and the will and nerve to break the law and disregard our Constitution, they will find it. And we will constantly be fighting this for the next 3 years. And this is why you must remember all of this. If I have to get on here once a week, a couple times a week, to make sure that you guys remember how little they regard the life of you and your family, how poor and stupid they think you are, then that's what I'll do. And I believe that is my mission with these videos, is to make sure you do not forget. Because I know if I could only choose one thing to pass on to my children, it would be the freedoms that the U.S. Constitution allows them, and I will not let them forget that. But we have to fight to keep that to pass on. Now, I just wanted to make a little bit quicker video and just let you know you can almost see the future when it comes to these guys. Like I said, less than 48 hours ago, I told you Joe Biden would do this. If you let him get away with it once, he will continue to do it. Obama got away with it 10 times. Hillary Clinton has done it constantly, pretty much. I mean, these are some of the most highly educated in our laws, and yet they break the law themselves. But they will hold you to those laws, whether that cost you or your family lives. And in some cases, you will pay to protect those politicians while you yourself are disarmed. there's a shit storm of brewing, guys, and you need to get prepared. Get some ammo, get some firearms, and just hold on to them as long as you can. Because you never know what the Democrats will try to take next. You guys stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace, y'all.